He's 22 years old. He's left-footed. He comes from Brazil. His name is Nathan Bernardo de Souza. And I think from the 15 minutes that I've seen, I think he might just be the real deal. We know how good Kim is passing the ball, how fast he is, how strong he is. And I think that this kid, whilst he's still a little bit rough, he's got really good potential. And let's look at why. Let's first take a look at his team, because the context in which he plays is super important. And right here, we've got some heat maps of his team, Red Bull Bragantino, playing against Sao Paulo, a very good team in Brazil. And we can see here that when Red Bull Bragantino are at home, they like to play very attacking football. The strongest points, the red ones on the heat map, are in the Sao Paulo half. And this is the type of team that Natan plays in. It's important to buy defenders that are used to playing higher up the field, that are not scared of being in that position, rather than buying someone who is just happy to be in his own box. Right, now let's go into how he likes to play. And let's start off with first his attacking qualities. And here you can see his ball progression. Now, these are clips that I got out of the YouTube videos that you can find of him, but I really want to focus on the details, his approach, and his mentality. So you can see here, he's not afraid to get past one of their strikers, venture into the midfield, and that's exactly where he lands. And the other team has to stop him with a foul in order to break his play. And this is very similar to the type of things that we've seen from Kim, where when you feel like you don't have a solution, instead of playing it back to the goalkeeper, you just go and try for yourself. Another piece of attacking football from him, he loves to cross the ball. He has a very good left foot, and that's simply because the fact that he started his career as a left back, then he moved as a center back. But what you learned growing up, that stays with you, and he's got this amazing crossing technique. He's got this ability to play the ball very, very long, and that's one of the key things that he's got in his repertoire. He might not be the best at close passing, but he's got a great ability to launch players into space. This is very interesting for Rudy Garcia, because if you remember at his time at Roma, he was playing with guys like Gervinho, for example, who they benefited from the defenders or goalkeepers launching them into the space as soon as possible. Very different from how Spalletti used to play, which is more about finding spaces with short passes. Garcia, I think, wants to, yes, use that approach, but also surprise the opposition with a very straightforward pass. And this is the type of player that can do this, which is very different from, for example, Ostigard or Rahmani. Next, he's a great header of the ball from what I've seen. He's got a good jump. He imposes himself in the box. So that's very good, because Kim had a few goals last season, including on his debut. And those 3, 4, 5 goals that Kim guarantees you every season, it's important not to lose them, because these are maybe goals that can win you games or draw games. These accumulate to maybe even up to 10 points in the season. It's important that we have defenders that know how to score. All right, now let's get into why we bought him defensively. And as we mentioned before, Red Bull Bragantino, they love to play a high line. Every single clip that's out there of this guy, you'll see him chasing back the defenders from a very high position, and he's got great speed and a great sliding tackle to win the ball back. Now, not only do they play a very high line, and he likes to use the slide tackle very well, but he's also quite composed when it comes to just purely intercepting the ball. Here you can see he intercepts the ball, he cleans it up, and then he passes it on to another player. Very good use of the ball, doesn't waste it, doesn't just boot it up for no reason, and is calm under pressure. He's still got a player right behind him trying to win the ball back from him, but he simply stays calm, passes it to the best option out there. Right, now let's go to another example, and you can see here that not only are they playing very high, but they're even playing inside of the other team's half. That's A very impressive clip from a very young team. He's used to occupying that position. He's used to players potentially running past him. And he does a very good job at both using anticipation and his body to win the ball back here. And speaking of awareness, he has got exactly that, because in this clip you can see that he sees that one of his teammates got beat, is getting dribbled past, and he knows that he needs to get into the space and block the supply before the situation becomes even more dangerous. In this situation here, he's got a choice to make. Either he runs back or he confronts the situation, he confronts the danger. It's a bit risky. He tends to get stuck in quite a lot, but in the end, he's got very good timing. He reads the play very well, and he's got, as we said before, just a great slide tackle timing to get the ball from the striker. One thing that I will say, though, is that he can be a little bit rash. I've seen him go two-footed into tackles. The referees in Europe, they don't like to see these kind of things. Even if you get the ball, they would give you a yellow card, if not a red card, for going two-footed like that. All right, another key aspect of his game, which I'm starting to get more familiar with, is the awareness, which we mentioned before, but not just positional, but also his body awareness. You can see in the next two clips how when he's in the box and someone's crossing the ball or shooting, he's very quick to put his body in the way, but to put his hands behind his back. This is so key. So many players give away penalties by not doing this. We've won a few penalties last season like that. It's good to know that a kid like this, so young, already knows these basic defending tricks. And you can see here, again, he loves a slide tackle. He's going in for a sliding block. But when this cross comes in, the most important aspect is that he's got his hands behind his back. So the referee could never call a penalty here. What I don't like is that maybe he slide tackles a bit too much. I mean, if the attacker here fakes a cross and cuts inside, he's already committed to a slide tackle. He has to be a little bit more careful in these situations. Now, because they play a super high line, Bragantino needs players, and especially defenders, that know how to anticipate the ball, that know how to play man-marking football, and that's exactly what Natan does. Very similar to Kim in that regard. I've seen Kim do this so often. Rahmani does this also quite a lot. You have to get very close to the striker, and once you do that, then you're able to put pressure on him, and because maybe of your better physique, bully him out of balance and stick a foot out and win the ball back. And that's exactly what he did here. The striker loses his balance, Natan wins the ball back, and all of a sudden now they're able to attack from a very high position. Again, this is crucial for how Napoli wants to play football. Now let's get into how he defends 1v1. And when I saw these clips, I remembered not so much Kim, but I remembered how Rahmani approached Leao in last season's Champions League, allowing Leao to run past him. And Rahmani never really made a block, never made an intervention, never slowed down Rahmani. Whereas this guy, Natan, he's the complete opposite. He has perfect timing and he stands his ground. In this case, he knows that he needs to wait a little bit before putting in a tackle, because if he puts in a tackle but he misses the ball, his team is screwed. So what does he do? He stands his ground, he slows down the striker, waits for his teammate to get into a better position, and then when his teammate is in a better position that he could potentially cover him, then he goes and commits to the tackle. And he doesn't just fall back and let this guy get into the box. No, he goes for a tackle before it's a potential penalty situation. Very good. Another example is here. Again, he's the last man in the defense. What does he do? He sets his body in a very good position where he opens up the outside for the striker, so there's no opportunity for him to cut through centrally. Once he does that, then he waits for his teammate to come back, and then only once his teammates have come back does he go and he commits to the tackle. And finally, for a little bonus, he knows how to absolutely tear the back of the net with a good penalty. Look, I'm not saying he's going to be our penalty taker next year, but we did have penalty issues last year. So who knows if one day he decides to step up for Napoli. Maybe one day in the Champions League we will be doing a penalty shootout and the situation will arise. That will be his moment to shine. There is no goalkeeper on this earth that could have saved this penalty. So there you go, guys. A very quick and dirty tactical, technical analysis of Natan. I think he's got all the minerals to be a success. And it's up to Garcia, his teammates, and most importantly himself to prove that now. And hopefully he can be another great surprise for Napoli. Anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think of this player. Did this video change your mind in any way? Did it give you a bit of reassurance that Napoli didn't go and just buy some random kid? Let me know what you guys think. All opinions are welcome. Put it down in the comment section below. And don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you've liked this video. And as always, Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao!